today we have a lot of background noise. You know, even if we all shut our mouth close, we hear the fan, we hear the traffic, we hear a lot of stuff. So when in the olden days, when people used to be quiet, there used to be actually acoustics, or the architecture itself will amplify the sound, and it will direct the sound to even the last person sitting in the last row. Okay? And public speakers were not allowed to speak like this. So I will be like this, you know, talking to you guys. Today we are going to talk. A public speaker in the olden day would be this. Okay? So today we are going to talk. So, you know, the levels at which people used to speak earlier as a public speaker were also loud. Today, when we imagine how somebody speaking in that particular place would be heard till the end if he was speaking the way I am speaking. Okay? So the earlier days were acoustically treated, and even this building, okay, is made in acoustic way so that a person who's standing over here, if he speaks the way I was speaking right now, he would be heard till the end. Then came the walls, the cathedrals, okay? Now this is also from that generation wherein the architectural change was made and people used to gather inside, and reflection of the sound was used towards advantage, okay? Have you guys noticed that if you have a song playing on your phone and you take that phone in your toilet, the volume increases. And you come out in the hall, the volume drops. Anybody has noticed it? If you haven't, try it. Okay, play a song, take it in your bathroom, you will suddenly hear a rise in the volume. That is because we are also listening to the reflection of the sound. Okay, when I speak, there are two sounds that are reaching your ear right now. One is, if this sound system were not there, one would be direct sound reaching to your ear, and the second sound would be the reflection. Okay, reflection is a advantage as well as a problem too. How? We will see as we go on. So what I'm trying to say is, earlier the architecture was the key to sound amplification. Okay, reflections were used to your advantage. In 1875, the first microphone was invented. Okay, that could connect or take acoustical energy and convert it into electrical energy, so that then we can use all the cables and everything for further processing of the sound. Okay, this is the photo of the first ever made microphone. It was a carbon microphone. They call it a carbon microphone. It was in the 19th century, so 1875. We are very new to this technology. If you look at it, the conversion and the amplification of the sound is not a very old technology, but it is almost 100-year-old technology that we are still refining it and still making it better. And this is the first speaker. Okay, you need a microphone that will connect the acoustic energy into electrical energy, and then we need another device on the other side which will take the electrical energy and convert it back to acoustic. Everybody with me? If it is too heavy, let me know. Okay? If you are not understanding what I'm trying to say, you can ask me questions raising your hand. Okay? Sound is an acoustic energy. Microphone connects it, converts it to electrical energy. It goes to the systems, it gets amplified, and then it is converted into acoustic energy again. Because we are not electrical devices, right? You cannot connect a wire to me, to your things. We need acoustic energy. This speaker is not an electronic speaker, by the way, electric speaker. How many of you all have seen this? Oh, I didn't put it. Gramophone, phonograph, okay? Device. It was not a electrical device, okay? The needle would sit on the phonograph will play. Not gramophone, okay? Gramophone is different than phonograph. Gramophone is the circular disc that you see on which the HMV logo, the HMV company's logo, that's the gramophone, okay? Phonograph was a mechanical device, and this was a speaker used to amplify the signal, okay? Now, have you seen trumpets, brass instruments? Okay, brass instrument starts with a small reed, okay, or a mouthpiece. And then what happens? It later on turns into a bigger outlet, Okay, that is how sound works. When a sound travels, it increases speed and increases amplification, and that is how it is amplified. Another example is your guitar. Without the box, you will never hear the sound that you hear out of a guitar. The box is the acoustic amplifier. So these were the olden ways of doing things. After this, someone thought of, now we can convert audio into electricity. Let's work on amplifying it. Because even in the olden days, you had a microphone, you had a speaker, but the power was not enough. It was not loud enough because nobody had invented the amplifier yet to amplify the signal. Amplify means what? Yes. Okay. Make it big. Okay. So small signal would be increased, and that is what the amplifier does. This is the world's first amplifier. It was a triode. It was a single semiconductor, not semiconductor. It was like a semiconductor and could power and give you wattage. But again, it was well below 10 watts. We understand wattage. Watt is the unit of power. Okay. Even the light bulbs have wattage. Your mixer has wattage. Any electrical device will have wattage, the power that it needs. Just a tip. What is the wattage of the speakers that we have connected? 300 watts. Each speaker is of 300 watts. So earlier days, 10 wattage was the only power that you can generate with these. See, again, I'm putting the dates over there. This is still in the early 20th century. 1914, this was invented. This is how the earlier amplifier speaker would look like. If you see, there's a speaker, there's an amplifier, and that is how you would connect your microphone, and only one person can be amplified that way. Okay, we are still into the zone of one person at a time amplified. This is in the US, the first ever public PA system used. It was on Christmas, people sang, and again this was a 10-watt speaker. Okay, it was not as huge as the speakers that today we are using. And then came these. These many people would identify. What are these? Any idea? The elderly guys? Sorry? Vacuum tubes. Okay, vacuum tubes or valves. If you have an old radio, in fact, you have a device here, the organ. The organ circuitry is made up of these. If you have time someday, just open that door and you'll see some of these in that circuit. So these are the older components in an electrical circuit which used to be doing the job of amplification, power reduction, stepping up and stepping down voltages. Okay, so this is the technology that came in, and that is how we get our guitar tone. How many of you all know that if these were not there, you wouldn't get the distorted guitar tone? You know that that guitar tone is because these components started giving that tone, and musicians thought this is a very melodic distortion and we can play along with it. So the whole blues, metal, rock, all these genres came in only when these devices started showing up, and guitarists and musicians started playing with them. Okay? And the amplifiers used to be big. Even computers were made of these. The older computers were made of vacuum tubes. They used to glow like a bulb. Okay? And I'll tell you an interesting trivia. You know the word, my system has a bug? In computers we say, right, if there is a problem in the computer, we say, there is a bug in the computer. That actually comes from these devices, wherein in the early days, when the circuit, which was made up of these components, they used to light up, and it's to actually attract bugs. So there used to be people who had a job to come in and clean the vacuum tubes and debug them. So that terminology still carries on. We still say that there is a bug in my computer or there is a bug in my device. Then came semiconductors. Okay? Now we are getting into the zone where we will be having smaller devices. Everything, the size has shrunk. The older radios, the guys who are, from the 70s and 60s, they will know the radios would have those old vacuum tubes, and then it was called transistor. They used to call it transistor when it transitioned from the vacuum tubes. Earlier it was called as radio, but then when these guys came in, the semiconductors came in, they called it transistor. It became very small. This transistor could fit in your pocket, Walkmans. These were the devices that came up once this advanced. And then we could finally think of having multiple sources. Have you noticed? Till now, I was talking only about one microphone. What happens when there are 5 people? One is on guitar, one is on keyboard, and one is on singing. You will need 5 amplifiers. That was the way to do it before the mixers came in. Okay? Mixer is now another device added into the structure wherein you take multiple signals and then route it through a single set of speakers. Okay? That is what we do, right? We have 5 microphones, 6 microphones. Okay. We have almost 18 speakers now. That does not mean that we have 18 different cables running into each of them. Like one microphone is connected to one speaker, second connected to second. Everything comes into a mixer, and the mixer mixes. The technical term for mixer is muxing and demuxing. Okay, multiplexing and demultiplexing. So what it does is takes the signal, combines it into one signal that can be routed to 2 sets of speaker. So far, so good. So this is the first 5-channel mono mixer, okay, that the engineers could finally take 5 devices, 5 voices, mix it together, and send out. So far, so good. Okay? And then we are here now. This is the actual mixer that we have connected over here. Once we got into semiconductors, everything got super advanced and super easy, as well as super tough for people who did not understand how it works, but it has actually become very easy. There are easier ways than this. This is an analog mixer. We also have digital mixers, wherein it is even easier to handle it, but you need to know the basics first. So this is a 22-channel mixer. What does that mean? If you have heard me clearly so far, you should know that 5-channel mixer and 22-channel mixer. What does that mean? How many inputs can we have? 22. What are the inputs that we can have? We can have either, see, there are only 2 types of inputs. Okay? One is the microphone input and one is the instrument input. Okay? Microphone is used for acoustic devices. Okay? We are an acoustic instrument. Sorry, I should not say device. Acoustic instrument. What is an acoustic instrument? Any example? Box guitar, flute, the congo, the harmonium. These are all acoustical devices that are generating sounds. What is an electrical device? The keyboard. Okay? It automatically generates the electrical signal needed for the amplification. The acoustic ones need a microphone. Humans also are acoustic devices. The most expressive instrument in the world. Any idea? Expressive. Human voice. Human voice is still the most expressive instrument. The second is violin. The third is flute, and goes on. Guitar is very low down when it comes to expressions. The bowing of the violin cannot be compared to the plucking of the guitar. We have slides and bends to do that, but it is not as close as to the violin. So, what have we seen so far? We need 3 components in a system. Earlier it was the microphone and the speaker. What is that? This is the block diagram. Okay, we are going to understand what are the things that come together to make our system. So that's why I've got you guys right from the beginning, so we understand where we are. Input, microphone, keyboard. Earlier, no amplifier. Directly send it to the speaker. Phonograph is an example of that. Okay, or that megaphone that we use today. The older version of megaphone was actually the people who used to roam on horses and do an announcement. They would carry a metal conical structure in which they will see. See, even today, if you're not heard, and if you want to be louder, what do we do? If you want to call someone who's way back there, we do this, right? So this is a smallest amplifier that you can create for the voice to travel along back. Okay? So this is a clear example that earlier we had the input and the output. The speakers were mechanical. After this should be self-explanatory. We learned how to convert acoustic energy into electrical energy. Then we started amplifying it and then giving it to the speakers. That is why we could have concerts in open area. You know, have you seen those big crowds where a concert, you know, is like you can see people till the end. You know, so those, just imagine how those guys were doing the PA system and how many speakers and what wattages were used. So far, everybody with me? Okay? Then came the mixer. See, I am taking you dire to the diagram that we are going to study. So, source, then the mixer. Why? Because now we have a complicated system. We need more people, we need more instruments to be mixed together and sent out to the amplifier and then to the speaker. This was the system that you guys had before this system was installed. There was a mixer over there. There were two big amplifiers at the bottom, okay? And then the amplifiers would run to these two speakers on the wall, okay? This is what the old way we were doing. Block diagram wise, we are still doing the same, but now the amplifiers are moved away from that place and they are gone into the speakers themselves, okay? There are pros and cons to both the systems. The cons with the system that we had earlier was, one, it is all dependent on one device. If that amp goes off, the whole line goes off, the whole system is down. The advantage of this is, even one speaker goes down, you can still have the show running on, you can still have the service running on. Even one line goes off, we can still have a second line going off. That one amplifier would handle left and right signals. If that system goes down, everything is down. The second is the tonality. We did not have much of tonal control. Like, you know, we want to reduce the bass, you want to increase the treble. You cannot do that with the existing setup that we would have. Everybody with me? Okay, answer this. At the first entry of the sound system is the speaker. Correct? 4 people are saying yes. So we start with the speaker. Then, yes, we start with the microphones, okay? With the input. Speakers are outputs, okay? So I know who's sleeping now. Okay. This is the existing block diagram, okay? We need to spend some time on this more. So what is the difference that you are looking at? There are 2 sets of speakers, okay? One is at the end and one is there in the middle, okay? Why do we have such kind of system? I'm just asking. I don't expect a correct answer. Yes, but why 2 sets? Okay. Huh? Through the mixer. Everything will go through the mixer only. Exactly, exactly. Very good. For the monitors, if you see, there are 2 sets of speaker here also. On any stage, next time when you see a concert, when you see a big church happening, you will see speakers on the stage. Okay? Now, those speakers need to be separated from the speakers that are facing the people. Because if I am a guitarist, okay, and I am playing my part over here, my guitar is being heard from that speaker to me. Now, if I am not happy with that signal and the engineer does not have the option to give me a different signal over here, he would be increasing it for the crowd also. Correct? For example, a guitar solo comes in. Everybody knows what a guitar solo is. When the guitar solo comes in, the levels of the guitarist needs to go a little up. That is the engineer's job. But not on stage. Stage musicians will have their own separate mix. Okay? Now in our case, the stage musicians and the pastors, if they stand, now we have one speaker here at least. If these speakers are not working, let's say, they will still be able to hear something. Okay? For them to hear clearly and the musicians to be heard clearly, we have another set of speakers. These are called as monitors. Okay? So please note it down if you are, planning to do and work with these systems. When I say, if somebody calls me, सामने वाला speaker चल नहीं रहा है, that is not what I want to hear. If somebody out of you calls me saying that सामने वाला speaker में आवाज नहीं आ रहा है, नहीं, what would be the right way to ask me? The levels on the monitors are less, or the monitor is not on. Okay? Because there is a different set of faders or buttons for the volumes of these speakers. I repeat. Okay? It might be that people are happy. They are happy. सब बराबर चल रहा है. But musicians are like saying हमको ही नहीं आवाज आ रहा है, or pastor is saying I am not able to hear myself. So pushing the volumes of these will not help solve the problem. Okay? Everybody clear so far? These are monitors for the people who are on the stage or on the podium. Okay? So if you see input, the mixer takes the input from everywhere. It routes it to the speakers. So the first set of speakers is these two speakers. Then it goes to the amplifier. Of course, in our case, the amplifiers and the speakers are together. Okay? But for the block diagram, we still need to understand how it works. That's why I have not put them together. But in your mind, when you're looking at the block, they both should be together in our case. And then there is a different routing happening once the mixer signal comes out of the mixer. Everybody with me? So far? समझ में आ रहा है? If you have any questions, please ask me before I go ahead. We can, but they would be too loud for them. Actually, I had first decided to put it over there. But these plus these do the job perfectly for the people who are standing here as well as who are there. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Monitor. The monitor levels, if from here also and from here also. So if, that's what I'm trying to say. Because I said there are different knobs for these. If you have just complained and somebody increased the overall volume, this will increase, but this is not increased. So I'm going to actually, after this session, we'll actually go to the mixer and I'll explain it to you what are the buttons, which to touch and which not to touch. Because there are some settings, like there is a problem with bass in this room. If a microphone has too much of bass, it will be muffled. It will not be clearer. So some microphones, the frequency needs to be cut. Okay, for even keyboards, everything. So that section of the mixer, I will show you, but that is not of your concern. That is one-time setting. एक बार set कर दिया, you don't need to touch it again and again. There are other sets of buttons also, which are set once, that needs to be staying the way they are. The rest of the volume and up and down is okay. Clear? All right? Yes. So this is our system. This is our church. This is how things are connected. It looks complicated, but I'll explain it to you. Just have a look at it. Let me know what you understand. I'll give you 5 minutes, 2 minutes with this. Totally, we have 18 speakers. You can count. Yeah, the green ones are mic, the blue ones are speakers. Yes, exactly. This is a to the scale diagram, as you say. This is, I mean, scale as in not meters wise, but to the numbers. I'll share this. Don't worry. Yeah. There are only two monitors. There are only two monitors which are in the front. These are speakers. Good question. Now, if you see the diagram, where are the mains? Mains. You see that mains? That is where the speakers are powered. Okay? So the lines are going from, okay, I just wanted you to have a look, understand that that circle is our, actually, Pastor, what is that called? Altar or pulpit? Okay, so, but still, I don't know, if there is a special word for that, I don't know. Uh, the pulpit which is on a high rise, okay, that is the circle, okay, where the microphone number 1 is connected. Microphone number 1. Do you see microphone number 1? Okay. Then we have number 4 is this, the Bible reading microphone. Then we have the keyboard. Then you see the auxes are routed to the speakers in the front and the rest of the lines. So there are 2 lines, okay? Actually, there are 4 lines, but there are 2 sets of speakers, left and right, okay? The first line is, okay, I'll come to that. This is a zoom in of the altar, okay? You have a question? This is 4, the Bible reading. Podium. I've just made a desk, so, you know, that's the keyboard. Yeah, I didn't go very creative to put a keyboard icon over there. Okay, now you should ask me a question. What is the red line? Right? It is the snake in the church. It's called snake. Okay? See, imagine if that was not there. What earlier you guys were doing is, there were, all the cables were running from here, right? Till the mixer. So now if you had 22 cables to be connected to somewhere here, we would have all mess around here. A snake is nothing but a thick cable which combines many and makes it into one. So we have more are over here, 5 to 6 or this snake. Physically, it is under the, explain it to you on the diagram so that this will remain with everyone. Not in the snake.